The following podcast is a W2M Network original production. Visit W2Mnet.com for all of our other great podcasts, plus news, reviews, articles, and opinions from the worlds of wrestling, video games, football, and entertainment.
Wrestling to the Max, Monday Night Raw review.
Hello and welcome to Wrestling to the Max Raw review for May 14th, 2018. My name is Brandon Biskobing. I'll be your host for tonight. Gary Vaughn, unfortunately, is out once again. We'll be out for a little bit. So Liz and I will hold the fort for the time being. And like I just mentioned, my co-host tonight, Liz Pugliese. How's it going?
Pretty good, and you?
Not too shabby. As we all know, or as most of us know, those of us who pay attention, tonight they were overseas, across the pond in England tonight, and with that comes something that we always seem to see, and at least those of us who pay attention more know about, that these are not they may say that, especially tomorrow night, they may say it's SmackDown Live and 205 Live, but this time around it is not, and the same holds true for Raw. These are pre-taped because of the time differential. Considering your reaction to some of the things that happened, I'm assuming not, but do you go see what happened on these types of nights first?
Oh, yeah, no, I totally read all the spoilers first. I always do. Actually, I wasn't even planning on watching tonight until Sean asked me to fill in for Gary, but I figured I probably needed to know a little bit more than the spoilers told me.
So you just got reeled in tonight, pretty much.
Yeah, no, I mean,
you were gonna take the night off.
I kind of was, because it was, pretty busy day where I was like, I might just, but yeah, like spoilers don't bother me. I can still enjoy it, but regardless, even if I had planned to, watch it like I usually do, I probably would have read them. If a spoiler is out there, like, I'm one of those people, like, if there's a spoiler out there, I want to know what it is.
Yeah. Oh, same here. That's my problem with NXT. Whenever they do the tapings, I'm always like, I mean, half of the time I forget them by the time that those episodes air. But, like, it's still, like, and it's hard for me to do some of the NXT reviews sometimes because, like, I'm wanting to say, like, what's about to happen, and I have to do it subtly where it's like, I have this weird foreboding feeling that this is going to happen.
Yeah, and when I read the spoilers, I thought the whole list was up, but actually, I think the last match, and I thought I didn't know about the last match. So that was actually a pleasant surprise.
Oh, okay. See, I saw the whole thing. The one thing, and the one thing that I do that's a bit of a tradition for me that I've been doing for a couple of years now, that it helps on nights like tonight, is I'll play the matches that happen on the card. So, like, on a night like tonight where I have the spoilers, I can do all the matches before the show even starts, and I don't have to worry about doing any matches after the fact.
What do you mean? Do them on where?
Play on 2K.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, that's why I was delayed a little bit, because I've had a busy day, so I actually wasn't able to finish the whole card today. Mm-hmm. So I was playing the Braun and Finn versus Drew and Dolph match on 2K. Oh. But yeah, so let's get into this, shall we? We start off with Roman Reigns coming out to the ring to the very typical British dubious reaction, as we expected. And I actually thought about this, and maybe I'm curious to see if you kind of agree with me. I think everyone who has followed wrestling, has followed WWE, has noticed that the London crowds are a very raucous, very smarky crowd. Maybe even more so than cities like Chicago and Brooklyn.
Yes.
I think there's a reason for that. Because with the time difference, it's not like here where it's like someone who's just a casual wrestling fan, oh, it's 8 o'clock, I'll turn on Raw. And just kind of watch it, and then on a certain night they don't feel like watching it. There, I mean, while I'm assuming they've got like a separate version at 8 o'clock their time the next day, I'm sure like a lot of the fans that go to these shows are the hardcore fans who will stay up until 2 o'clock in the morning, 1 o'clock in the morning, their time, to watch Raw live. So it's a different thing where like they actually have to go out of their way in order to watch these shows. It's a lot like us with New Japan, where, you know, some of us do watch it, you know, after the fact, but, you know, those who really want to get into it will watch it at 3 o'clock in the morning, our time.
Yeah, I agree. I think there's definitely it is definitely a good majority of those fans in the stands. Plus, you know, the younger crowd is definitely going to get into it as well. You know, even the teens probably, because they're probably not really, most of them, staying up until 1, 2 o'clock in the morning to watch it.
Yeah.
So I think that really plays a huge factor into it.
So we get Roman Reigns coming out to his usual booing. He says he was robbed, and this time it wasn't by WWE management, but by Jinder Mahal. They're still gonna do this whole thing. I don't. Are you trying to completely bury him? No one believes this BS about him being screwed by management. Come on. And so he says, you know, he calls out Jinder, says, come down to my yard and face me like a man, yada, yada, yada. Out comes Kurt Angle and says, you know, Jinder's not going to be coming out. Roman, I like this one. He's like, since when are you Jinder's keeper, pretty much?
Yeah.
Angle says, no, I speak for WWE management, and he received a call saying that he was thinking too emotionally when he denied Jinder an opportunity to qualify for Money in the Bank, and, oh, God, this is just going to be terrible, because I know exactly where this is going, but he says that putting Jinder into another match is what's best for business. So basically, Kurt Angle has become Stephanie McMahon's you-know-what.
Mm-hmm.
He's basically become Stephanie McMahon's female dog. So, yeah, I give Kurt another, what, how long is it until SummerSlam?
100 and something days?
I meant months.
I don't know.
Let's see, it's May, June, July. I give Kurt another 3 months before he's and then they find some other lackey to do their bidding.
You really think they're going to change the GM again?
Yeah, I do. Because this seems to be the storyline that they go with on Raw with the whole Authority now, where they're bound and determined to have a face GM. So face GM comes in, he's given free reign for a few months. He inevitably pisses off Stephanie and Triple H. They come in, try to step in and force their hand. It works for maybe a month or so. Then they're like, "Oh, you're not working out. We're gonna fire you." Happened with Mick. It's gonna happen again with Kurt.
Kurt, yeah, I kind of suspected it. I was hoping, I was wrong. Overall, I enjoyed the Roman and Kurt interaction, except for that "it's what's best for business," line. But it kind
I
of
think we
seemed
all
like,
cringed when we heard that.
yeah, definitely. It kind of seems weird. I don't dislike Roman, as we know. I don't really dislike Jinder as much as other people, do. It just seems kind of weird that they're pushing together these two people that the majority of the fans are so against.
Well, I think, and it's kind of ironic that it's completely backfiring on them. But I think one of the reasons why they're doing it is to try to get Reigns some cheers, because they think that Jinder is so disliked that Reigns would get more of the cheers, which in my case is the truth. But as we've seen tonight, that's not the case with the fans that they're trying to sway.
Yeah, I know. I don't think either one of them is really going to get cheered. I think it's...
Oh, no. I mean, honestly, depending upon where they put this on the card at Money in the Bank, because we all know that this is leading to a one-on-one match. But if they make the super, super bone... I don't want to say I know they won't, because they've done stupider things in the past. But the likelihood of them doing this is very, very slim. But if they were to make the incredibly boneheaded decision to put this as the main event, then if you thought the reactions to Joe versus Reigns were bad, this is gonna be...
even worse.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I can already tell you that, like, half of the arena will just up and leave.
Let's hope they don't.
I don't think they will, especially on a pay-per-view like this, where there is a distinctive stipulation match that should be going on last. And also with the star power in the title matches, like, I would not at all be surprised to see Nia versus Rousey go last, which we'll talk about later. But yeah, it was decent. If it wasn't for Roman's whole, like, oh, everyone's out to get me, yada 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 BS, and it was more of what we saw after he talked to Kurt, of him saying, I've got to do what I gotta do, and, like, just, the silent, not really silent, but, gotta get stuff done badass that we've been wanting to see with Roman, and just gets things done without really saying much, then I've said, a bunch of times that ever since last July, I've been more of a Roman fan. But these last couple of weeks, especially after Backlash, have really made me question not him. He's fine. They're so indecisive with his booking. They go from one extreme to the other and just keep on jumping back and forth with him, that it's just like, I don't get it.
Yeah, I don't think anybody gets it.
No one gets it. Not even Vince McMahon gets it. Roman Reigns is the signal that Vince McMahon is going senile.
I wouldn't go that far.
But I would. So, yeah, that was the opening segment. The little brawl that they had wasn't bad. That was good.
I loved Jinder pushing
Oh, well, of course. That's just typical Jinder.
But for some reason it just cracked me up. It was like his first thing that he did was like push him in front of him. I don't know why it cracked me up tonight.
I saw it coming. I knew that was coming.
Oh, of course, but just the way he did it, like, really cracked me up tonight.
Yes. So, going to commercial after all this, our opening contest scheduled for one fall.
One fall.
Which they completely disregarded in JoJo's introduction to this, and I know exactly why they did it, because the London crowd would, even if she didn't make any pause, they would have done it regardless. So Vince was like, I'm going to put the kibosh on that by not even having you say scheduled for one fall. Like, it doesn't even matter what the stipulation for this match is. I don't care. Everyone knows what the stipulation is. I'm just doing this just purely out of spite.
I guess everybody assumes it's one fall.
Yeah, I think that's probably... I mean, I didn't really pay attention as much for the other matches if she did say it later on. But this one, because it was a title match, you know, they do the big introductions and everything. So that just jumped out to me right away. And I was like, oh, Vince, you damn... you spiteful douche. So, yeah, we get Seth Rollins against Kevin Owens, and, you know, with these two, you expect a great match, and that's exactly what we got. We got a very good match, and Seth Rollins ends up retaining with a curb stomp off of the ropes, which was a pretty cool spot. Yeah, solid match overall.
Yeah, really good match. Second week in a row that Seth came away with the definite match of the night. Nothing else came.
Oh, yeah.
Nothing else came close to it. I think it was also the second week in a row that he opened the show, right? He opened last week.
Did he open last week?
Maybe not.
I think you're right. I think you are right.
Yeah. And, great match between the two. Great chemistry. Great storytelling. I mean, there's nothing negative to say about this match.
No. Great match. I liked how they were teasing the apron powerbomb, but they didn't do it. And then Seth hit the Buster on the apron.
Oh yeah, that was something. You know, when I read the spoiler, there was actually, I don't know if I read it wrong or it was phrased wrong, but I actually thought that Kevin won. So I was like, oh, I thought that would be cool. It's like, oh yeah, Kevin, that's going to be cool. And don't get me wrong, I love Seth. But yeah, I actually thought that Kevin won, which got me pretty excited because I thought that would have been pretty cool.
That's kind of disappointing. You go in expecting to see this like huge moment, and then you get disappointed.
Yeah, no. When I clicked on the spoiler for more information, I was like, "Oh wow, cool! They're doing a title change out of it. That's great." And I was like, for a second, I was like almost disappointed that Seth retained. God damn it!
Yeah. So after that, we get a recap of the Rousey versus Nia Jax thing, setting up the women's championship match, which, I mean, personally, I'm perfectly fine with it. I don't know how you think, but do you think with the way, I mean, a lot of it is going to depend upon if we get any sort of rumors in regards to it moving forward, but do you think this is going to change how anyone reacts to her at Money in the Bank? Or no?
My biggest issue with the whole thing is the way that it went down. Because I think once I actually saw the clip, I think Ronda pulled it off better than Nia did. Nia just, to me, didn't really do a good job of, the confrontation. I mean, I get that it was supposed to be friendly and whatnot, but it just felt really flat.
Yeah.
I don't know if
I'll agree with that to an extent. I mean, I was still okay with how they did it. The whole Charlotte thing didn't fully... I mean, I get why they did it, because they're still trying to set up the whole Charlotte versus Rousey thing moving forward. But, like, the whole thing with her trying to make her woo and, like, her wooing at the end was just kind of weird.
Yeah, it became about Charlotte, not about the rest of them.
Exactly.
But let me just, while we're discussing Charlotte for a second, Charlotte on air should use Charlotte's regular voice. She sounds a lot better. But yeah, I mean, I don't think Ronda's going to win. I'm sure we're going to get some
Oh
shenanigans.
yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see how they play it out.
The biggest thing I'm gonna be interested in though is if this does change any people's perception and any reactions within the crowd, because like we talked about after Mania, she proved a lot of doubters wrong, that she can actually handle herself in the ring and she's not gonna be a liability in the ring.
Right.
But at the same time, one of the biggest, worries that a lot of people had was that she was going to become Brock 2.0. Now, granted, she's, at least at the moment, she has proven herself a lot more available and around a lot more than Brock has. So that shows some hope if she does win a title. But at the same time, you also had this whole thing of, she wants to, earn title shots, she doesn't want to be handed anything, yada, 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 and then a month later she has a title shot. I get that in storyline they're having it be that Nia is giving her the opportunity, but still, it's kind of like, I'm hoping, I mean, I don't have a problem with it personally, but I'm just hoping that it doesn't create a giant backlash.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's where they had her say in it. She's like, well, there's other people that are more, in line for it than I am, and Charlotte, like, encouraging her. Hey, maybe Charlotte will be the one that interferes, who knows?
No, I have a feeling it'll be Natalya, and they'll set up their match.
Yeah, probably, but...
So then we get Kurt backstage talking on his phone, and the Miz Taraj roll up and say that they wanna they're changing their name now that Miz is gone. They're gonna be their own guys. They're gonna be their own tag team, and they're gonna be known as the A Team. And Kurt's like, no, that already exists. You can't be the A Team. The A Team's cooler than you by a mile. Shut up. Pretty much. And Bo's like, okay, we'll be the B Team, and B stands for best. No one's buying it, Bo. Shut up. But so we get the B Team, yay! And then they're asking for a title match, which is absolutely ridiculous. And especially since they lost to them last week, which Kurt mentioned. And he says, they say that they're undefeated because they have a new name, so therefore new name equals new team. And Kurt says, okay, I'll give you a match if you leave me the hell alone for the rest of the night. And, so we have a match for the B Team later, which we'll talk about later. And now we get, and then we get entrances for the next match. Anything on this segment? We'll talk more about the match and what we think of the B Team later. But
I enjoyed it.
I liked it too.
I read the spoilers, and I actually almost asked in our W2M staff chat, like, who the hell is the B Team? Did I miss something?
Oh, you didn't see who it was?
No, because...
Oh, okay. See, on the spoilers I read, it explained, like, who they were.
Well, no, so. On the spoilers I read, you had to, like, click another link to, like...
Oh, okay.
It had like a 2-3 line about each...
okay.
Segment, each match, and you had to, like, click on it. And I didn't realize that at first, I'll be honest. So I'm like, who the hell is the B Team? Like, is this, like, some stupid British team that they gave a show? I don't freaking know. And then, but it's like, I thoroughly enjoyed it, because you and I have been talked about them the other 2 weeks when I did Raw with you, and we were enjoying it. I'm still getting a kick out of it.
I'm still disappointed we're not getting them as part of the Woken Warriors, though.
You never know.
But yeah, you need to start using Cage Side, because that's the best site to get all the info and everything.
Yeah.
So we get triple threat action for a Money in the Bank qualifying match between Baron Corbin, Bobby Roode, and Noah Jose. Surprisingly, a lot of offense for Jose, which gives me a lot of hope for him. But eventually, Bobby Roode does get the win with a glorious DDT on Noah Jose with Corbin on the outside. Pretty solid match. You know, all three guys got some offense out.
Yeah, I think all three, put on a really good match. We all know, if you listen to SmackDown 205, if anybody listens to us, you know how I feel about triple threat matches. But in times like
it's your dreaded multi-man match.
It is. In times like this, we really can't avoid them, and they're a bit more understandable than, this should have, triple threat for the hell of it.
You must have hated back in, 2010, how they had a whole pay-per-view completely built around Fatal 4-Way?
I think that was the beginning when I hated it. So, it was a good match. I enjoyed it. You had said to me, I think the last time we did Raw together, so I guess like 2 weeks ago, because Gary did it last week. We were talking about how I felt about, and not having watched NXT, how I felt about the kind of recycled gimmick thing that No Way Jose has. And you had said to me, once you start seeing him in the ring, and you were right, he is very talented in the ring, and I enjoyed his in-ring work much more than I enjoyed his dancing to the ring. So I definitely think I can separate it.
Oh yeah. Well, that's the thing about Jose, and at first it wasn't this way in NXT, but as they built his character, they kind of built it where, like, he's really fun and really, happy-go-lucky and dancing and everything outside of the ring, but then as soon as he gets in the ring, as soon as that bell rings, he's very serious. So, they definitely do separate the two.
Mm-hmm. Definite plus.
Yes. So, Bobby Roode moves on to add his name into the Money in the Bank ladder match. Backstage, we get KO confronting Kurt Angle, demanding a rematch against Seth Rollins, saying because of all the trouble he's been through. And Kurt basically says, why do you deserve a rematch? You lost fair and square 1, 2, 3 in the ring, and KO now with that new leverage of the Authority once again behind him, which I'm still disappointed they never really did anything with back in 2016 after he won the Universal title with Triple H's help. But so be it. He basically says, if you don't give me this, I'm going to call Stephanie McMahon. And Kurt's like, I'm tired of being threatened, and KO's saying, it's not a threat, it's reality, it's a promise, and that ends that. Angle then goes into the trans room to see Jinder, and he says that his ribs are taped up, and Kurt says that the match has to happen tonight. This is the last night for qualifiers. And Jinder says that he'll wrestle if he has to, and he'll qualify for the Money in the Bank. What did you think of these?
For the Kevin and Kurt one, I don't know. I mean, Kevin's always great, and whatever he's doing, as stupid as it is. This, is the whole running to Stephanie thing just makes me roll my eyes, only because I'm not a fan of Stephanie, the character, or the whole Authority thing. I'm wondering if down the line, they're going to do something between Stephanie and Shane, where, because as we all know, Shane and Kevin recently had this wonderful thing going on, and he hated him so much, and now his sister is, basically giving him what he wants, like a toddler throwing a fit. And as for Jinder was pretty good, as well in his couple of brief segments that he had. I can't really fault him tonight. I think he even sounded better, this week than normal. A lot of weeks you find him putting on this certain tone and pitch to his voice, and it seems like he dropped that this week, so he sounded much more natural.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. The KO thing, while I agree with you, I absolutely despise the whole authority storyline. I have since 2013 when it started. But, the whole thing with KO, I'm okay with because, well, for one, it's going to give Kevin Owens more opportunities, which I'm a fan of KO, so
yeah, absolutely.
good for him. But also, like we talked about earlier, I think this is going to be one of those things that are going to factor into the end for Kurt Angle. So
yeah, that makes sense.
it's a means to an end with this. In terms of Jinder, no, I was okay with it. I'm not really a Jinder guy, so yeah.
Yeah, of course.
I still do, and I always will still think of him as a jobber.
Yeah, I can understand that. I mean, especially after the whole 3MB thing.
Yeah. Oh God. I mean, for those of us who have been watching more than just a year and a half, we know that this guy has been a complete joke since what? When did he come into the WWE? Like 2009, 2010, something like that? Yeah.
Yeah.
So, like, his entire time that we've been watching him, he's been a complete and total joke. Even when he was with Craig Khali.
I know. Yeah, they're trying to rebuild him, I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. I'm not that.
Yeah. So that next we get tag team match playa scheduled for one fall.
One fall.
Between Breezango and the B team, Bo Dallas and Curtis Axel. First of all, can I just say, I loved how the London crowd were humming the A-Team theme.
Yeah, that was it took me a second. I was like, wait, what?
Well, see, I saw that in the spoiler. The spoiler.
I didn't. Like, the spoilers I read were like very brief, So I didn't. But...
See, they mentioned it in the spoiler I was reading, so I was trying to listen into it, and then I heard it. And I was like, yes. So B team win with back suplex neckbreaker combination on Fandango, and they celebrate their undefeated streak and get an interview, and they say that he's like, that just happened. Like, it was funny seeing how surprised Axel was that they actually won.
Yeah, they're celebrating just was the best part of the whole thing.
And then Bo says anything is possible for the B team, and Curtis Axel calls out Bray Wyatt and Matt Hardy and says they're coming for the Raw Tag Team titles, and leading to the crowd getting a very vigorous B team chant going. Two questions. Well, first tell me what you thought about this match, and then I have a couple of questions for you.
The match was okay. It was it was a fun little match. I figured, well, even if I hadn't seen the spoilers, I would have figured that the B team would have went over. Excuse me, as much as I do like Fandango and Breeze, who are completely underrated at this point.
Are complete jokes at this point, pretty much.
Yeah, I know. It's it was a quick little match. They gave the B team their win to set them on this course of them thinking that they're amazingly better than they are, I guess.
Okay, well, two questions, maybe three questions in regards to this now. First off, how long do you think this winning streak is going to last?
If we're lucky, as long as possible.
Okay. So I'm asking the question in terms of, like, do you think they're actually going to continue to be booked well, or do you think this is another one of those situations where, like, it's like them pushing a jobber team for, like, a couple of weeks and then they fall back to jobber status?
No, I think I think I think they're going to try to book them well because I think they do need to, beef up the tag team division on Raw, and Curtis and Bo definitely have in ring talent. Then they definitely with the right with the push if they given the chance, I think they can really make it a team out of it.
Yeah.
I think they can be really good.
So you actually think that this is legit, that they'll actually have an opportunity? Okay.
Yeah.
Then I don't need to ask the second questions because my other two questions were gonna be assuming. Well, actually, the second question still holds true. Do you think the U.S. crowd is gonna give as good of a reaction as we got tonight for the B team?
Yes.
Yes.
Because the U.S. crowds, do enjoy a good. Well, I mean, yeah, because the U.S. crowds do enjoy a good comedy team when it's done, properly. So I think they may. I think they may at least initially get a good reaction. What was the third question? Because now I don't want to know.
Well, my third question was going to be how, assuming that, that they weren't, I was assuming that you were going to say this wasn't going to last, but the crowds were going to really get attached to them. I was going to say, how long do you think it takes before they get, the Rusev Day treatment or the Ty Dillinger treatment, where they're just, off TV just to stop the chants?
If I thought otherwise, which it probably is otherwise, I'm probably just being really hopeful. By July, the latest.
Yeah.
End of June.
Yeah, I could see that. Okay, so next we get a 6-woman tag match between Ember Moon, Natalya, and Sasha Banks versus the Riot Squad, with the team of Moon, Natalya, and Sasha going over here with a submission on Liv Morgan by Natalya, the sharpshooter. So have they completely, destroyed all of the, factions now? Because, obviously Absolution had to break up because of Paige, but, Riot Squad, they got sent over to Raw and, came in strong after being used kind of, mediocrely on SmackDown. And you're thinking, okay, they could, do something on Raw potentially, and now they're basically being used the same way as they were on SmackDown. So, what are they doing with Riot Squad?
I don't know. I don't think Riot Squad was ever given the chance that they probably, deserve.
No.
I still think that they need some polishing up. I think part of the problem is, don't get me wrong, there's a lot of fans out there that love them, and I actually, they've grown on me rather quickly, more so than Absolution did. Although the Absolution seemed more of a cohesive team in some ways than the Riot Squad. They need to get rid of that second T. It's annoying.
Oh God! Well, don't even get me started on that.
But
we all know why that is.
Yeah, because they're just stupid. But I think I don't know what they're doing. With the Riot Squad, I do think they need some polishing up to an extent. And the whole women's division is just ridiculous at this point. I mean, Nat was evil on SmackDown. She comes over here, she's sweet again. It's like, have a little consistency. I mean, none of it really it hardly ever makes sense. But now it's just gotten all sorts of convoluted.
But here's the thing about Riot Squad, and I'm not the biggest fan of the team as a whole. I'm a big fan of Ruby, but Liv Morgan and Sarah Logan, I'm not really much of a fan of. But the thing about Riot Squad is that they were basically just and this is even how they were booked and created and treated, even within a just purely within kayfabe level. not even looking at it outside of that, they're a cheap knockoff of Absolution. That's all they really are.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, I think when they first started, we said it over on the SmackDown review that it's everything that happens on Raw. There's a similar thing that happens on SmackDown.
Yeah.
So they had 3 women pop up. They had 3 women pop, and it was quickly, from day one, it was kind of stupid.
Yeah. Next we get a little promo in the back with Dolph and Drew saying how the locker room has gone soft, a banquet full of pigs stuffing their faces, and Braun and Finn are at the head of the pack, and Dolph says that they're just all smoke and mirrors, and that they're all just pretty much just said they're both just an entrance, pretty much. And then they say they're not here to take food off of anyone's plate, they're here to flip over the whole table. Which I said on, I think, one of the groups, or I forget exactly where I say it, but I like this whole worked shoot thing that they're doing with Drew. But Finn and Braun...
So random.
What?
So random.
Well, first off, it's random just in that sense, and I'll talk about that more once we get to the match. But Braun and Finn, and granted with how both of them have been booked lately, maybe I'm just being very optimistic for both of them.
Mm-hmm.
But it seems to me, at least, that they aren't like the Samoa Joes. Granted, since Finn is friends with Gallows and Anderson, maybe he is more like them. But it doesn't seem like he's like Samoa Joe, like Gallows and Anderson, like Mike Kanellis, like all of like the Titus O'Neills, like all of the other guys who have stupidly spoken out and said this very thing of pretty much, they didn't say exactly this, but pretty much saying, I'm just here for a paycheck. Braun and Finn don't, maybe I'm being too optimistic on both of them. But they just, at least to me, especially Braun, because, this is the only thing he's done. It doesn't, and Finn's pretty young, so it doesn't seem like he's, just kind of there on his, ride off into the sunset tour. So these two don't seem like they're in that category. So it doesn't make sense for Drew to be targeting them. You get what I'm saying?
I do get what you're saying, but as you, sir, are so fond of saying, this is WWE, and a lot of things never make sense.
I understand this entirely. I understand.
So
I know I'm going way too far into this, but
no,
I
think in terms of this show, it's, and I know most people in our chat would be like, yeah, whatever. I think in terms of this show, they're like, oh wait, we're in England, and we really don't have a lot of English guys anymore, but we have an Irishman and a Scotsman, so we better put them on the show. And you know what? We'll have them go against each other. That's really what I got
you're
this.
right.
I can see them. I can see them in a sense going after Braun, because Braun is very much, literally and figuratively, the big man on campus. He's the one that's taking everybody out. So if you want to,
I get your point in that sense, but Drew's whole thing that he's had lately has been this whole worked shoot of calling out the guys who have been saying that I'm just here for a paycheck.
No, I know, but still, if you're gonna do that, then you still have to go after the person who's really, ruling the roost.
I get that.
So it's 6 to 1, half dozen the other. But I really think it's the, oh wait, we don't have a Wade Barrett or William Regal or whoever the hell
Neville.
Whoever else is English or sounds like they're English. Oh wait, and Sheamus is on SmackDown now. So, oh wait, we have another Irishman and the Scot. Well, whatever. Let's put them on the show.
Pretty much.
They are technically part of the UK, right?
What?
I said that they are technically part of.
Well, except for Balor.
Mm.
Because Ireland, well, at least the part that he's from is its own country.
Yeah.
But so next, what?
People probably don't even know. Half the people that were in the audience probably don't even know that.
I know, but hey, some world history here from your resident Irishman. So our next contest, scheduled for one fall, is a tag match play between the Deleter of Worlds and the most misutilized team from NXT since the Ascension, the Revival.
It was nice to see them.
Nice knowing you, Revival. My point still stands. I am undefeated in this sentiment, and this has been going on since last year. Triple H, hold your tag teams close. War Machine, Heaven Machinery, Street Profits, Undisputed Era. Hell, get Sanity back. They haven't debuted on SmackDown yet. Keep them on NXT until you take over. Because every team that gets called up to the main roster is immediately destroyed.
Mm-hmm.
We haven't even seen Authors of Pain since the second time that they showed up.
I think part of it too is as stupid as it may sound, there's just for some reason it's not even just the tag teams. There have been other people who've come up from NXT, and people have been so excited about them coming up from NXT. I mean, Tyler Breeze is a perfect example. People loved him. People couldn't wait for him to come up to, and poof, look at poor Tyler.
Well, that's a little different because his gimmick...
but my point is that... But that's my point. Some of the gimmicks, they work in NXT, which in a sense has more of a almost indie feel to it, if you will. And then you come to the main roster, and some things just don't translate for some reason. I'm not saying it makes sense. It doesn't, but...
I mean, I just don't see... Well... Two counterpoints to that. For one, a lot of these teams, Revival and AOP especially, haven't really had enough time really to say if that's true. They haven't had the chance to sink or swim on their own. But also, I think, and this may just be my personal bias, but, Revival seems like a gimmick that would work on the main roster.
Yeah, I don't disagree. It's just I don't know what it is. I don't.
I just
blame Vince.
I am going to blame Vince directly for Revival.
You blame Vince for everything. So
well,
really
no, because I just thought of something that actually makes a lot of sense outside of purely Vince hatred. This is actually thinking about it because of what we know about Vince McMahon.
Mm-hmm.
What is their gimmick?
I don't even know at this point.
Well, to an extent, I mean, what they say is no flips, just fists. But like they're that, pretty much under the surface. If you go under the surface, and even if you listen to their entrance and everything. What their gimmick really is they're promoting the Southern style wrestling. And Vince, because of his war with NWA, with his war with WCW, he automatically sees that and is like, oh no, you're getting buried immediately.
But, come on, I mean, how true can that be? Because obviously he knew that's what they did in NXT.
Oh, come on. Because look at the difference. Triple H has been, kind of bringing some of that stuff back. He's not as petty as Vince.
Yeah, but it's not like you can say that Vince doesn't know what his people's gimmicks are in NXT, you know? I don't think
he may know, but I have a feeling that he's letting a lot of things just kind of, you know, he's letting Triple H control a lot of that.
Yeah, but that's not saying that he doesn't know what people, you know, are doing. I don't know. I mean, I don't think that, you know, Vince is the most evil man that he's, you know, everybody makes him out to be. I'm not saying he's a saint, but, and I'm sure that there's plenty of shit that he does, you know, to you know, but I don't know. I mean, I think there's a lot of factors into it. I think Vince is only one, maybe one big one, but one.
We'll see. I'm hoping that Revival does not fully become Ascension 2.0, but I am starting to lose hope by the weeks. And like I said, my point still holds true. I have yet to be proven wrong. Triple H, keep those tag teams in NXT. So we after the match, we get a Bayley segment with her walking backstage, and Sasha pops out and says, "Good luck," and we get some awkward little moment between those two. I don't know. Again, another convoluted storyline that no one knows what the hell's going on with it.
It's dragging on forever.
Yep, pretty much. Next, we get back from commercial. We get Sami Zayn in the ring. He asked if anyone knows that Prince Harry looks like him. That was funny.
I love that.
Yeah,
because I love Sami and I happen to be a big Prince Harry fan.
I loved how the British crowd was giving Sami a huge pop.
Yeah, great.
And then he talks about Bobby Lashley, how he gave him vertigo and all of this, and rolls the tape of the delayed vertical suplex, and talks down to Bobby, and then says, "Hey, I'm gonna expose you pretty much for the fraud that you are. I'm gonna bring your sisters out next week." Which
I am.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry, dear. I am so afraid to know where they're going with this.
I was just about to say that same thing. I was like, I want to have hope because it's Sami. I want to have hope that Sami just, like, calls out that whole interview from last week for the horrible mess that it was, and just I don't know what exactly you can do to salvage Lashley from that last week, but maybe Sami can. But I just feel like this is going to go further and further into a tailspin of them coming to Raw next week, with Sami expecting them to badmouth Bobby, and then them just being like, "No, we love our little brother," and yada yada yada, and make him even more of a, damn family man and whatever the hell they're trying to do. Make him another, boring white vanilla babyface and completely destroy his credibility.
Yeah, I'm like, are they going to use his real sisters? Are they going to bring in actresses?
I have no idea.
Are they going to do something?
Does anyone ever really know with these things?
Are they going to bring in, like, somebody so stereotypical and, like, God knows what? That's, like, my biggest fear.
You want to know what this is going to be exactly like? You want to know how cringeworthy this is going to be?
Yeah.
This is going to be like Bayley, This Is Your Life.
Oh, shut up.
Am I wrong?
No, you're absolutely right.
So, yes, be prepared. Oh, speaking of Bayley, This Is Your Life, segue time. That segues us perfectly into the next match, scheduled for one fall.
Wonderful.
As Alexa Bliss, Bayley, and Mickie James face off in a Money in the Bank qualifying match. Decent match. I mean, it's pretty much what you expected. Although there were a few surprising moments with Mickie trying to do a sneak roll-up or whatnot on Alexa. But for the most part, this was just a pure beatdown.
Yeah, I mean, it was a decent match, for what it was. I'm glad it was Alexa that advanced, although I wouldn't really have had a problem with Mickie, but I think everybody kind of figured out that Alexa would be in it somehow, and that's probably definitely the right call. But for what it was a decent match. I think it was about what you'd expect from the three of them.
This is my bias and also my thing about NXT people being misutilized. But this would have been a great way to put. This would have been a great way to give Bayley a bit of her momentum back.
Yeah, I'm not a huge Bayley fan, but I mean, yeah, I can see that, but I'm not really disappointed in the outcome.
Yeah. Okay, next we get Jinder Mahal Jinder Mahal backstage, with the doctor saying that he's cleared to compete, and he says that he's going to show why he's the modern day Maharaja. I can't roll my R's. I'm sorry, folks. He goes out of the trainer's room, and boom, Roman Reigns spears him right through a wall, and there you have it. Bye-bye, Jinder. Thank you, Roman.
Oddly enough, a lot of fans were probably for one saying, "Thank you, Roman."
Yeah, pretty much. I'm sure. I'm definitely saying I was. Anything more to mention on that?
Nah. I mean, I was a little surprised I actually took him out of the match because I hadn't seen that in the spoilers. But on the other hand, I'm really not.
Well, I mean, you didn't get spoiled as to who his replacement was and eventual winner, so.
Yeah, no.
After that, we get Kurt Angle back with Jinder as he's getting stretchered away, and he says the match must go on, the show must go on, and so I'm gonna have to find a replacement for you. And I forget. I think they didn't. Oh no, this was later on. Never mind. I'll talk about that later. We have a tag match player scheduled for one fall.
Wonderful.
As Braun Strowman and Finn Balor, the real Team Little Big, faces Dolph Ziggler and Drew McIntyre. And first off, let me just get this out of the way real quick. You did all of this work, and you talked all of this big game about Braun Strowman not needing a partner, yada yada yada, trying to win the tag team titles on his own, and then winning the titles with a 10-year-old, and all of this, and then having to relinquish him because Nicholas couldn't compete, yada yada yada. And now, what has Braun Strowman done since WrestleMania, with the exception being Greatest Royal Rumble? All he's done has been tag matches.
Mm-hmm. No sense. It makes no sense. And like
it makes absolutely no sense.
Finn and Drew in this match strictly because they're European.
Let me quote South Park Johnny Cochran. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, that does not make sense. If Chewbacca is living on Endor with a bunch of Ewoks, does that make sense? No. Ladies and gentlemen of this supposed jury, that does not make sense.
It's one of those WWE things. Oh, these people are here. Oh, we have to have some Europeans on the show. Who's here? Oh, Finn? Drew? Okay, great.
And we gotta put Braun in there just because.
Yeah.
I mean, if anything, and maybe we will get this moving forward. Although I'd be deathly afraid for Balor because, I've said before I'm a huge Finn Balor fan, and we all know where his trajectory has gone since his injury. But at the very least, use this as a way, because these two are both in the Money in the Bank ladder match. And we may get this moving forward, but there were shenanigans. So, and with both of them being faces, you would think, with the shenanigans, Braun isn't just going to blindly attack Finn for losing this match. And plus, what's the point of this match even really? It doesn't really matter, so why would he care? But at the very least, you could have used this as a way to maybe build up a bit of a feud between these two going into the Money in the Bank ladder match to give a bit of like a mini story within a story, like this side story within the Money in the Bank ladder match. Like, you could have done something. If you were so hell-bent on having this match, at least you could have done something with it. But no.
I mean, one of my favorite parts of the match, I missed exactly what happened, but when Braun said to Finn, "You're fine, get up."
Oh yeah, that was great. Oh, let me mention one thing.
Hysterical.
Let me mention one thing about this match, because it was stupid but hilarious at the same time, because we all saw it. Well, we didn't see this precisely coming, but I think I might have even semi mentioned this one day. But the fact that WWE basically both figuratively and literally said that the Greatest Royal Rumble meant Jack and you know what. Because only a month later, they destroy the trophy.
I know. And, it was so random to have it there.
It just shows that WWE has no continuity whatsoever.
No.
Zip. Nada.
No.
Zilch. So, yeah, that was that debacle of a match.
But you had Drew.
Yes, you did have Drew, but I'm still disappointed that we lost that great entrance theme. I know you never heard it, but...
No, I've heard all these entrance themes.
You've heard the NXT one?
Yeah, I didn't watch NXT, but I've always followed Drew. I've been a Drew fan for a long time.
Oh, okay. We get, after that, we get Kurt talking on the phone.
Again.
Again. He loved, well, I mean, to be fair, they are in England, so, yeah. But, I mean, yes, Stephanie had a very, distinctive hand in this show, even though she wasn't there. And he's talking about how, about the Ronda match, and then Jinder Mahal, and how he sent Roman away. And then he says he thinks he has the perfect replacement for Mahal, which I'm sure was someone else. I wish we would have found out who else that was, because that would have been an interesting little feud with Kevin for moving forward. But Stephanie is like, no, here's the perfect opportunity to listen to Kevin Owens and give him another opportunity. Coming back from commercial, we've got Elias in the ring to sing us a song. And we don't even get any notes, nothing from him, because Kevin Owens interrupts him. And that reveals who Jinder's replacement is Kevin Owens. And if anyone didn't expect that, well, you didn't need to see spoilers to expect this. So we've got a triple threat for another for the final Raw Money in the Bank qualifier, scheduled for one fall. And that has Bobby Lashley, Elias, and KO facing off. And honestly, kind of surprising, but not really. But it's always kind of weird whenever they do these types of things where it's like someone gets randomly added to a match and then suddenly wins it. But KO wins the match with a frog splash after some help from his friends. Oh, I need a little help from my friends. KO. I wish they would have done that since they were in England tonight.
That would have been great.
That would have been hilarious. So yeah, Sami Zayn comes down, makes a save. KO gets the frog splash win on Elias, and qualifies for the Money in the Bank ladder match. And that's the show. Any thoughts on this match?
It was a pretty decent match.
Yeah.
I can't say I hated it because I didn't. Had a few good spots. I think the three of them worked pretty well together. I enjoyed Sami coming out and smacking Lashley around. For some reason, I actually didn't expect that. Don't know why. I'll chalk it up to being tired. But yeah, no, I got a kick out of that, and I love the fact that he gets in the ring to celebrate. Kevin rolls out. He rolls out after him. It's just, I don't know. I got a kick out of that.
I love their whole thing with them not wanting to take credit for something.
Yeah. And,
you did that all. You did that all by yourself. And Kay was like, no, you helped me.
Yeah. I enjoyed it. I think I enjoyed the whole thing. I enjoyed the match.
I know. So. I know at this point I shouldn't want this for a couple of reasons, and I know at this point we probably will never get it because of how they're going right now with them on Raw. But I was hoping to see Best Friends as a tag team for a bit.
Me too.
That would have been fun seeing them just win in the tag division.
Yeah. I could get behind that. I totally agree. I was hoping we would have got them for a while.
Same here. So that does it for the show. 1 to 10 rating.
I really enjoyed it. I cannot lie. Even the women's matches, which I'm barely pay attention to half the time. So I'm gonna give it. You know what? Because even after reading the spoilers, it still kept me very entertained. I'm going to be very generous and give it a 7.5.
Oh, okay. I'm going to give it a 6.5 only because of some of the very head-scratching booking decisions. Like Braun and Finn being together and whatnot. I understand why they did it, but
yeah, the rest I agree with you there, but for one night only.
I'll give it a 7 actually because
I choose to overlook it.
I'll give it a 7 actually, just because there were some pretty good moments. I mean, yes, there were some bad ones, but the whole thing between Roman and Jinder was great tonight. The KO Seth match was great.
Best match of the night.
Yeah, oh, definitely. The triple threat matches, were pretty good. Seeing a new team that hopefully they'll do something with Bo and Curtis was fun to see. And then while a head scratcher in a number of the other two tag matches, while they were head scratchers in certain ways, they were at least decent. So it was a decent show. One word review.
Pleasing.
Pleasing.
Yeah, it's a pretty pleasing show. I was quite satisfied with it.
Oh. I'll give it a solid 1 word review. Solid. Like I said, there were a few iffy decisions, but for the most part, it was a good show. Especially, I mean, I think it's kind of funny, and I think they do it for a combination of a couple of reasons. Honestly, it seems like the London shows are always good. It seems like the London shows are always better than the U.S. shows, and I feel like there's 2 reasons for that. For one, because they're in a foreign country that doesn't get to see them all the time, so they want to put their best foot forward for those fans in England. But I think there's another even more, I don't know if it's a bigger reason, probably not, but I'd say it's at least on the same level, is that they know that their core fan base, they know that the majority of their fan base is going to be going and looking at spoilers.
Right.
So they know they have to put their best foot forward in order to keep those fans tuning in.
No, I agree. And like I said earlier, being the fact that I had a very long day and was, super tired after I read the spoilers, I was like, yeah, maybe I'll just, veg out up, read one of my books or something. But like spoilers, like I've said, even, movies and everything, they don't bother me. But being that I've read the spoilers, it really did hold my attention. Like there was a couple of things I didn't see in the spoilers, so that was nice. So, so it was a really solid show. But one thing I really liked about this show in England as compared to previous ones is they didn't have any, like, stupid crap on their set. Like, phone booths and...
AKA the TARDIS.
Well, no. The TARDIS is actually a police box. So.
Oh, wait. Oh, no, you're right. I thought I remembered seeing a police box on there one time.
They probably did. I probably don't remember. Or a tea party, or umbrellas, or 1,000, Union Jacks all over that type of thing.
To be fair, the guys that they would have on the roster that they normally would do that kind of thing with, they don't have on.
Well, no, but usually they have that crap just on the set anyway. Like up on the stage. There's always like. But like the tea party, they don't have those people with it anymore. But I'm just saying, there's no like 50,000 Union Jacks all over the place. So that was nice for a change that they toned that down.
I'm already calling it that we'll get at least a little bit of that tomorrow night, especially with heel Sheamus and a heel Jack Gallagher on 205.
Yeah.
So and plus we'll have the UK. The UK squad out there tomorrow night for 205.
Is in the same arena?
Yes.
That's what I thought. Okay.
So yeah, if you guys liked our commentary for Raw tonight, be sure to tune in tomorrow night with is it just us tomorrow as well?
It's just us tomorrow for SmackDown and 205.
So Liz and I what?
I was gonna say for the next 2 weeks for Raw, SmackDown, 205.
And maybe even NXT.
Yeah, it's just us.
Well, you don't watch NXT, so I guess I'm just doing that with Sean.
I don't. I don't. I think Sean's going to do it, but I would be willing to watch it and come on and do it as I've never seen this before.
That would actually be kind of interesting to see.
Yeah,
getting a fresh perspective on something.
Yeah, so I'm totally willing to do that. You guys just got to let me know.
Yep. So be sure to tune in to us tomorrow again. So. For Liz Pugliese, I'm Brandon Biskobing saying so long and have a good night, everyone.